Welcome back to the Workpay Podcast. Now, second part of the first episode. So now we're back. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. It was fantastic part one. Now we have learned how you guys landed on payroll as a core product. Let's talk about what happened between then and now, including the name change. You're now Workpay, not Total Plus anymore. Why that happened, but also maybe products or even countries. Like you expanded massively. So I want to learn about the journey of basically where you are today, but how you got there.
Cool. Yeah. So I think I'll start by the name change, and then it was not really a name change. It was actually a pivot of some sort. So this is 2019 now. In June, we finally say that we are building a HR and payroll solution. And then we were like, again, what are we going to call this thing? And I remember actually we spoke with a few employees and came up with different names. And then we were like, oh, but what are we trying to do? So we are trying to just build solutions around work and payments. Then we're like, oh, Workpay. And that's how we ended up with the name Workpay. Our first product then was just a payroll solution. But that's what we started by building. But then also something interesting happened during that year. At this time, I remember, the last half of the year, when now we made the decision that this is the building that we are going to build. Now we were like, for us to build this, we are going to need resources. A year earlier, I had bumped into this amazing program called Y Combinator, and then I always admired what they built and what they had done. A product that we use or we see amazing products like Airbnb, products like Dropbox, and there was an opportunity to also like be part of that amazing community. And towards the end of 2019, we actually applied to YC, as is popularly known. And interestingly, we got an invitation to go and do an interview. And I remember, around I think end of November, December, I can't remember the exact date. Then came the famous email. So we were invited to Mountain View, California, to go and do the interview in person. So I got the visa. Then I flew to Mountain View first time to the US, and I was going to pitch our business. It's a 10-minute speech where you're in a room talking to guys. You need to pitch your business. They need to ask you, and the hope or the idea is that in that 10 minutes, they need to understand what you're building, they need to like what you're doing, and they need to want to invest in you.
Yeah, so now Jackson missed the flight. So that means that he couldn't show up in the interview. How did you go about it?
So what they had done is they would allow people to, if your co-founder did not make it, to come to California. So they would allow them to join via video. But he never said a single word. Like, you don't understand how short 10 minutes are when you're trying actually to pitch something.
Yep.
People are asking you questions right, center, and left. But again, cut the long story short, I did the pitch. We got in, and it was a very, very great thing. Then I came back to Nairobi. In January now, we want to start the program in Mountain View. Halfway through the YC program, this was in winter 2020.
Yep.
The program then was split into in person and also virtual. So we are all in California, but then we sometimes have meetings, and so they have a very, very nice program. Then sometimes you have dinners with partners, dinners with other co-founders. But then those things started becoming rare and rare and rare. And then finally it was like fully remote. And then I was like, why am I doing here? There was of course that fear globally about this thing. So I was like, I just wanna, if I'm doing this thing remote, I would rather do it remote when I'm home as opposed to being here.
Yeah.
So I came back here.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough. So I remember when the flight that I came with was among the last one that people were allowed to do in person, sort of a private quarantine where you could just quarantine yourself. Then we had pushed our team to go work remotely. It was a very, very small team. So during this time, So we had done the demo day, which was again not very exciting as the previous years. So we did that, and then now I was fundraising. So I was fundraising in quarantine. So I was talking to people in the US, talking to people here in Africa, and it was a very, very long time. I did that 3 weeks. We were the very first batch of people who are trying to fundraising via video call. I remember there are some people who I was speaking to, they ghosted me, and then they came back to me like a couple of months later. I'm like, you know what? I went down with COVID. My partner went down with COVID. Like all those kind of like very, very weird stories. So I was talking to somebody today. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Even yourself, you don't know what's going to happen. But we managed to raise our first sort of proper round, which was our seed round then. And then that year, we now started ramping up our growth. When we started with just payroll, now started now expanding into things around the payroll space. The YC experience taught us a lot about listening to customers and talking to them, understanding them, building around them. So we now started like really talking to the customer that we are selling to and trying to build things around that. The experience was so amazing. Like now bringing these people online and pushing them to the cloud, and then having us use our cloud products. And the journey has been that way in terms of up to now where we are actually building really a global HR and payroll solution where we are focusing not only in our first market that we started, but now we are building across the continent, helping companies to hire, manage, and pay their employees across the continent. Think of if you have an employee in South Africa, either you have an entity there, you don't have an entity, or you have you're just hiring remote employees. You can use our infrastructure for you to be able to hire employees there. Yeah.
Interesting. And maybe to Jackson, maybe now you got maybe after the YC opportunity, as you said, taught you how to listen to customers, and that organically evolved into a whole suite of products that you have. Maybe I want to ask Jackson, like what lessons you have learned there when you decide to maybe build a new products, go into new countries. I think like before landing on Workpay, your journey was basically narrowing down on one focus, like and then laser focusing on it to hook customers, make them happy. Now I think again you diverge and expand to other things. It's a new direction, I think, as an organization. Like when you make decisions to expand to new things, like what did you learn, or maybe challenges or insights?
Yeah, so I think as Paul has said, all the products that we have built up to now, we have really tried to be driven by the customer. I think the very first experience of Toza Plus, where we build a product without talking to customer and then pushed it out there. So it's not a very good experience because once we met a real customer who knows how maybe a payroll solution looks like, we realized we have not even built 10% of what the market needs. We try to do experiments. If let's say you're thinking of a product, or maybe a few customers have requested for the product, you first build a sort of an MVP, experiment with it before now you make the final product. Can give an example of I think one of our key products now, global payroll, employer of record. And the other thing is, even if you're talking to customers, you really sometimes have to take a chance and be willing to. There's a chance here. Can we build this and hopefully see now where to lead us? So 2021, we decided to register a company in Nigeria. So we had Kenya and Nigeria, and then there's this client in South Africa. They wanted to hire some engineers, the rise of remote work, and they came to us and asked us, can you guys assist us with payroll in Kenya? And we said, of course, why would we not help you with payroll in Kenya? That's what we do. And so I remember Paul had a call with them, and after the call, he was like, "These guys don't want a payroll. I'm trying to figure out what they are saying, because they are saying they want to hire an employee here. We run the payroll for that employee, and then when I asked them what's the name of their company, they told me, I don't have a company in Kenya." So you are like, "Oh, are they really trying to do it?" And we researched a little, and it was easy. Can we just hire this employee on their behalf, right? So Yoko, as the name of the client, they ended up being our first ER employee. And from that experience, we really found ourselves, they themselves again asked whether we can hire someone else in Nigeria. And then I think they asked whether was it the country Zimbabwe?
Yeah.
They asked us whether we can hire someone in Zimbabwe, and we were like, damn, we have never we have never thought of the South. And really we ended up starting out to register in Zimbabwe so that we can hire for them. And then we started now iterating that product. We researched how it's working. We of course benchmarked with other countries globally what they are doing. And it was this big opportunity, and right now that product has grown almost to close now to being 40% of our revenue, headed to 50. We are predicting it to form the future of our business eventually. So right now, from that initial discussion with Yoko, right now we are registered in 30 African countries, 30 plus, where we are offering the employer of record services. It's all about listening to the customer and what they really need. Can go on about our financial products that we have layered on top of our payroll. Again, listening to our customers, seeing whether there is an opportunity to make money from what the customers are requesting us, and creating a product out of it, and doing lots and lots of experiments, because again, you still want to remain with your core product, which is payroll. So can you now build a whole suite of other supporting products around the payroll? So again, I think the key learning for me is always listen to your customers. Don't go building blind. The customers will tell you what we actually need.
So when I think about what Workpay is today, I think it goes back to when we started the company. So remember when I said that the way we named the company was Work and Pay. So we wanted to be where work is happening and where payments is happening for this work. And so what that means is then it doesn't matter how and where that work is happening. So when this opportunity for us came about, for us to help companies to sort of manage their employees globally, regardless of where they are within the continent, it really aligned with our vision of, we want to help companies we say that we want to help them to manage and pay their employees on time, anytime. So we want to help companies to be able to manage and pay them, and of course, more importantly, compliantly. So if you think about payroll is a compliance tool. So what we want to help businesses is to be able to be compliant, regardless of where the employees are working from. And that journey has been amazing from a growth perspective, as Jack mentioned. So essentially, what that means is that anywhere you want to hire an employee today, or anywhere you have an employee today in Africa, we can actually help you to figure out payroll for that employee there. We can help you to figure out payments for that employee there. We can help you figure out compliance for that employee there. And everything else that is adjacent to that. Do you want to think about time off? You want to think about how do you handle expenses in that country? Do you want to think about, do you pay them in local currency? Do you pay them in USD or euro? Like, that's what we do, and we want to help businesses, and this is not only businesses within the continent, is even global companies, is that Africa is where we have the resources from a labor perspective. So it's going to be really, really great as a content that we think that we are not just a continent of the future when we think about the availability of workers, but we are the continent of today.
So what is so you talked about the future aspects of Workpay, but also social implications, impact that Workpay has too. But what is your vision? Maybe you too. What is your vision for Workpay in 10 years? What does it look like? Like size, types of businesses, clients. You have gone through a very fantastic journey of going from everywhere and getting lost and landing on payroll, expanding.
Yeah.
What next?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. So the journey of building a startup is quite interesting, and sometimes you're not even able to predict that far, like 10 years far. So if you ask me, like,
Even 1 year is far.
yeah, sometimes a day is too long. So when you're building, so if you ask me, like 2 years ago, how many countries will have expanded to?
Yeah.
Probably I will not have guessed that would have expanded to these countries that we have expanded today. But when we started building this company, so one of our biggest goal was, like, wanted to build a Pan-African business. So I think in the short term, that we want to be still, we think we can win in that space of where we are the go-to HR and payroll software provider for companies that are looking into have employees within the African continent. So that's our medium-term goal. Like, how do we build a product that allows us to keep on winning, within the continent? I think we have been asked a lot by people, like, what is stopping us? Like, for example, from providing on the same solutions to Philippines, for example, to LATAM, for example. And it's actually a very, very valid question. But my answer has always been, there's still a lot of work that we have to do here. But again, I cannot tell whether in the long term we are going to be able to be in those markets. But you never say never.
Okay. So your take?
Yeah, I think we have been building Workpay as Workpay now for the past 5.5 years right now. We have learned a lot around payroll. We still, I think our vision is clear. We still want to play around the payroll ecosystem. We have a payroll engine that runs payrolls in 50 plus countries. That's not easy to build. We have had to iterate, redo and redo again. So as Paul says, I think in 3-4 years, we want to be the leading payroll provider in the continent. So anyone across the globe, if they want to hire here, I think we want always to be considered when making that decision.
Great.
Yeah.
So let's switching gears towards the end of this podcast, and then maybe add a little bit fun elements and vibes to this. I actually have a set of questions to ask you guys.
Cool.
And I will answer too. And let's go quick. The first one, we'll go with you. Start with you. If you could have dinner with anyone, dead or alive, it could be someone dead, who would they be and why?
Cool. 3 people. If I could have dinner with 3 people, either alive, and boy, first one would be Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs. Wow.
Yeah. I think I've read his book. I've tried to understand how he did things, how he thought about things, and I think the minimalism of how he approached things has always amazed me. Like, you look at the product that he was able to build. I think I would really have dinner with him and just understand how he was thinking through some of these things and just see him in action, how he was thinking. I would also probably want to have dinner with Cristiano Ronaldo. So I think he's an amazing athlete. He has really staying power. Like he's I don't know 31 right now. I don't know he's 40.
Yeah.
He's really competing with the young boys.
Still today.
Are still winning. And the third person, I don't know, probably maybe coming a bit closer to home. I think probably would be my mom. I think my mom died when I was quite young. And I think there's some bit of things that are he tried to instill in us, sometimes not in a very fun way. For those who know the way African mothers sometimes do these things. But right now I'm able to see that, and I believe she'll be very, very proud in terms of, probably on my end, like telling her, I understand why you are doing these things to me, and what we have been able to achieve. I think those will be probably the three people I would want to have dinner with. At least Ronaldo is still alive, so I hope I get to do that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very nice answer to describe your character, actually, all around, not only on work but in your personal life too. Jackson.
Same question. The first one would be John C. Maxwell. He's a leadership coach. Come to read his books. If I'm driving home, I'm most likely going to be listening to one of his podcasts. So
Interesting.
his leadership style has really been a big influence on me, I think, for the past 1.5 years. The other one is I'm an Arsenal fan, and I would want to one day meet Arsene Wenger. He was really a great coach, had a lot of influence in the company, in the football club. And the third person, ChatGPT, what is his name?
Sam Altman.
Like, I don't know how that guy thinks. Going to one day borrow his craziness sometimes and understand what really goes in his mind when he's thinking about things.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Maybe myself, if you could have dinner with anyone that will like. Maurice Chan, CEO of TSMC. I like the company quite so much. And by the way, the TSMC was founded in the same year when I was born, so 1987. So like I feel a bit of affinity with that too. But the fact that Taiwan was nothing in the semiconductor industry back then, and by the way, back then Japan was the king in the semiconductor industry. I think global export of semiconductor, Japan was like 40%. So big, it was like even became a threat to the US. The US was so worried about semiconductor industry in Japan. And then when Maurice Chan wanted to set up this TSMC, there's a national initiative to set up the semiconductor industry, none of the Japanese companies paid any attention, like zero attention, like you small guys, like you do your own thing. And then I think it's Philips or something, like some European company who gave some help to them to get off the ground. And then today, look at it, like Japanese semiconductor industry basically almost gone, not almost gone, like I don't say that, but it shrunk significantly to almost like near zero. Whereas Taiwan is dominating the semiconductor industry. So how dramatic or drastic a change can be if you have intention, if you get the right moment and a determination. So yeah, that's then Maurice Chan is the one who's been leading since then. So yeah. The second question, what's one productivity hack you swear by but secretly don't always follow? Maybe you first.
Okay. Me, it's funny because I always tell my teammates, you guys have to be better at time management.
And you are the one who's always late.
I believe I'm so poor. I'm trying, so I think these aspects of time blocks, blocking your calendar to do your own personal things, and then the day decides to teach you a lesson, and your whole time blocks get occupied by meetings. Yeah, so I would say that one.
Cool. You?
Probably taking notes, like writing things down. When I do that, I think I find it like really working so well. Because sometimes I try to put everything in my head, but I found that doesn't work. So every time I'm having a meeting with my people, they know when I'm having one-on-one, I'm like, are you guys writing it down on our shared document? Are you guys putting it on paper? But sometimes I find myself not doing that. And I think it's a great hack from a productivity point of view, because there are a million and one things that you have to do each and every day. So you don't need to try to remember everything. Just check your
Right.
document and where you load everything down.
Okay. Yeah, mine is maybe focus on one thing. Like you have again millions of things to do, so focus on one thing one by one, and then move to the next thing. Because if you try to do many things at one time, like productivity actually goes down. But what I do every day is the opposite. I found maybe like 35 tabs on my browser, and then I go to Facebook to check the messenger, but I check the feeds, and I found a friend's name that I have met for a long time. Then go to LinkedIn, and oh, he's doing this thing, and then going to Wikipedia, whatever.
Yeah.
It just never ends like that. So yeah, I focus on one thing that I still want to try, but it's proven difficult. Third one, what's one non-work related skill that surprisingly helps you at work? You.
I think for me that's easy. I think I would say running.
Oh yeah, you studied that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think I discovered running now 1.5 years ago. I discovered it's like constantly running, and that has a big difference in how my day turns out every day. So if I don't run in the morning, that's a different day from when I run in the morning, and that has become part of my life, part of my work life.
Wow.
So
Helps you concentrate, or like helps you feel fresh?
it helps me clear my head. I don't fancy running on a treadmill. It has to be outside. I need to be on the road so that I feel, that's when I feel best.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that's great. Great change that you made to your life. To you?
Yeah, so I would say playing football.
Okay. Wow.
I don't do it quite often now. Maybe once a week. I play on the right side of defense, right? So I know my position. If I go to any team, whether it's an amateur team, that's where I play, and that's where I know I can do best in the football field. So knowing the strengths at work.
That's interesting.
How you can contribute best to the team that you're working with.
Yeah.
And knowing when to say, I'm able to do this, maybe I can be a striker.
Yeah.
Can we have someone else in the team leading that other aspect? So I would say playing football.
It's interesting. It's interesting perspective. Because indeed, I think there are many overlaps between business and football.
Sports,
Yeah, sport, like strategy and teamwork at play. And you need to know your strengths and weakness, and knowing your enemy and stuff like that.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. My part, maybe it's not a skill even, but being a father of two kids, and maybe raising kids in a foreign country, come with challenges, and that maybe helps me a bit to be okay with things that you cannot control. Like with raising kids, I think there are way more things that I cannot control than you control. The fourth question is, what's the most unexpected lesson you have learned from your career?
Vulnerability is a key asset.
Wow, I like it.
Yeah, especially when you're at work. Learning to accept that I can't do something. Learning to clearly say, an expert in this, please handle it.
Yep.
Right? Accepting maybe to learn even from your junior, and they know that they know best, and of course I can't know everything. So can I be vulnerable enough to be guided by even the people that I'm leading? Yeah.
So I think the unexpected thing that I've learned in my career is things take way longer, and they are way harder. They are when you're starting them or when you're trying to figure them out. So if you think that something can take X amount of time or X resources, probably you want to double that so that you're able to manage your expectations. So I think building this company for the last 5 years, there are things that I thought that you're going to just click, and then they start working, but then you find that they are taking away more time. So you have to have a lot of patience and a lot of grit. So even when you are like feeling you don't want to do it, that's the time probably you want to do it even more. in the building journey. So because there'll be so many, that kind of wave up and down in building the business.
Maybe mine is maybe similar to yours, is that maybe being able to do things doesn't guarantee your success. Yeah, I tend to, because I went to US to do my master's, and then in general, in the US, schooling is competitive. Classmates are actually talented and skillful and competitive too. So you tend to have the thinking that, oh, you actually have to excel at everything, and then like maybe you also get scored for almost everything, like even math or like even other skills like finance knowledge or marketing, whatever, all the tests get scored. So you tend to score yourself against those metrics. But if you actually work in a real world setting, or if you try to make business work, actually scores or skills of course are helpful, but they don't guarantee success. Actually, you can be super bad at all those scores, but somehow you can make things work, right? Or maybe you could call it street smart, or I don't know. I think there are many ways to call it street smart, or maybe you are good human. I don't know. You could be a good negotiator or a human connectors or whatever. But yeah, so I tended to have this one lens that for you to be successful, you have to ace everything. That is actually not the case. So maybe similar to yours.
Yeah.
Cool. The final bit of this podcast. Again, it's a quiz, but it's a surprise quiz. And then a little bit of funny, not a quiz, sorry, question to you too, again. So you've just been hired as the first CEO of Mars. I think Mars is in the planet, right? Mars. And what is your first workplace policy?
So the first work policy would be, how do we increase the supply of oxygen?
I actually thought,
How do you increase the supply of oxygen, and how do we? I think it has to be around how do we make the place habitable.
Yeah,
and probably
work together.
That would be like we have to pull and ensure that there's enough oxygen for all of us to be able to breathe here.
Yeah.
Wow. Here the head start is the CEO, so already. So the first workplace policy in Mars. No taxes, no employee-based taxes. Everyone gets paid everything.
Oh, that's great. Because we need to motivate everyone to work together, right?
Yeah.
If you start taxing.
I like that.
Yeah. I think we need to share this suggestion to the government too. Again there, but yeah, no tax. Yeah, maybe my last bit is, similar to you. Maybe, I just imagine that, the oxygen is supplied as if it was like water supply, in the city, like in the real world. So maybe I will tell people not to steal oxygen from the public pipe. It's just too rampant in Nairobi. People just have spaghetti pipes to steal water, right?
Yeah.
Don't steal oxygen through spaghetti pipes in bus. Yeah, that's it. It was a very, very fruitful and comprehensive conversation. Thank you, Paul, for joining this podcast, and thank you, Jackson, for joining too. And then thank you, everyone, for watching the first Workpay Podcast. So in this podcast, we are going to cover so many more exciting topics in HL, and we are going to invite many interesting guests. So stay tuned, and please look forward to the next episode.